Hello and welcome to another episode of One Take Videos. Quick tip: when you start recording a video, just make sure that you're actually recording the video and not talking to your laptop. So even though technically this won't be a one take video because I started speaking and I wasn't recording, but anyway, today we are going to talk about Westworld episode 9 of the first season. Truly gripping, and I am still reeling under the effects after having watched the episode about 7 to 8 hours ago. It's probably like a drug. Now it's slowly wearing off and sense is coming back to me. I won't be praising Westworld producers, writers, directors, the actors today because that would take a rant in itself, and I have an idea about what I can do about that. But anyway, I don't want to plagiarize someone. But anyway, today I just want to talk about the sequence of events that we have seen in Westworld and how they actually happened in a timeline. Okay, important note. Something that I saw on Reddit or on Facebook somewhere. The difference between a timeline and a time frame. People go about talking, how it's different timelines. That's infuriating me because once I realized I was making the same mistake, but then I realized that a timeline is a flow of events from point A to point B. Different timelines would mean, the events flowed from point A to point C instead of point A to point B. A time frame, however, is a segment of the same timeline. So what we are seeing, in fact, is from minus 35, minus 36 years to present day right now in Westworld. So let's just put that into perspective, and let's just start from the beginning. The hosts start passing the Turing test within a year of development. As the park is about to start, Arnold wants to better the host's consciousness and experiments with the bicameral mind. We see the hosts getting delusions about God or some mystical being, and interesting note, I think this is what Ford is using for his narrative in the present right now, which is 35 years in the future from where we're talking. But anyway, how Wyatt comes up with this crazy idea that this world does not belong to him, blah blah blah. Anyway, so he's having a nostalgic moment in this storyline because he dug up the old town. Anyway, back on track. So Arnold tries to create consciousness. Hosts go haywire. However, Dolores somehow breaks through and realizes that the world is nothing but full of misery for her because it's not real, and that is when she actually discovers the church and goes down and talks with Arnold. And how this happened is because of the interviews that we saw in the earlier episodes, which we thought were between Bernard and Dolores, but they were actually between Arnold and Dolores. So Arnold was experimenting with consciousness. He was trying to push Dolores to break through. That is why she tries to follow the maze. Tries to gain consciousness, but that is when. Even in the middle, I remember a part where she asks Bernard that, is there something wrong with me? Have I done something wrong? And he says no. And then she says, did you do something wrong? And then Arnold, fuck it. Arnold gives this perplexed expression about that. And that is when he thinks about whether it is the right thing that he's doing. Has he, breached a boundary that he shouldn't have? What would Ford think of it and whatnot? And that is when then both of them drop it, and he tells her that forget about this, do not talk about this to anyone, and they move on. Fast forward a little bit, and Ford finds out about it. They have their disagreement, whatever. And theory number 1, he makes Dolores kill Arnold. Theory number 2, he wanted Arnold dead. Arnold knew that, and Arnold made Dolores kill him so that Dolores would be safe, because if Dolores was instructed by Ford or something via Ford happened to kill Arnold, whatever happened would have to be destroyed, whatever host or whatever was remaining, and Arnold was too attached to it. fun fact, I believe that Ford actually pretty much said it, almost said it, was that Arnold actually had a son who died, and that is what led him to be attached to the hosts and whatnot, and that is pretty clear by how even Bernard thinks about his son and whatnot. So yeah, flash forward, flash fast forward to 2 3 years. This is when William enters. Now, the man in black could either be William or Logan. Both of them have adequate motivation, and there is still an episode left which could actually tell us who the man in black is. The dramatic reveal would obviously be if the man in black is William, but it still could be Logan, because Logan is the one who's from the beginning shown to be the sadistic asshole in the park who is truly evil inside the park, which is an interesting observation because the man in black talks about how his wife was forever alone because she knew that she married a truly despicable man who, even though was kind and generous and charitable in the outside world, was truly evil from in the inside. Wow. So either that could be Logan, or it could be William having gone through his first experience in the park, having a mental breakdown of some sort. His love for Dolores being lost and blah blah blah. Pathos, and he goes back to his old life, and then he marries Logan's sister, and they're like he's kind on the outside, but anyway, so it could be either one of them, because they have a stake in the board, and later on we see in this episode that MIB talks to Catherine, someone from the board, the board representative. So she could very well be his daughter. That's an obvious theory, but anyway. So this happens with William. Over here, we don't know actually how she ends up with William, because it's shown as if the Eustace, whoever the host was, tries to rape her, and then she shoots him, and then that's how she ends up with William. But that's a different time frame if you're looking at it, because she imagines the man in black, and that's why she shoots him. It could be some kind of dissonant episode, because we see that the Abernathy episode happens in the present, so it's not the Abernathy episode that caused her to break through or breach. But anyway, she ends up with William. She has dreams about whatever Arnold told her before he died, and their conversations, and that's why she follows Arnold's advice and tries to reach the town, which isn't exactly shown, because then she would have because this time frame's Dolores stops when she gets injured in the gut. We haven't seen anything further from there. Flash forward to the present, where Teddy keeps Dolores in her loop. I think that's the purpose of Teddy, to be the loser. Obviously, Dolores gets raped and tortured and whatnot, but his main purpose is to keep Dolores in the loop, to stop Dolores from experiencing the maze again, because that's what Ford wants. He does not want Dolores messing shit up again. But once Teddy was removed from the equation, she starts retracing her steps back. So that's how, in one of the previous episodes, when they escape from Pariah, in one shot we see that they're in the train with the coffins, and there's William and Lawrence in the background, and in the next shot both of them are not there because she's retracing her steps. That's how she has those weird flashbacks in Pariah. That's how once she reaches the town, she is clothed in a similar attire, but there's no wound to her abdomen or something. So she's retraced her steps. She's entered the town in the present time frame, and when she reaches the lab and she realizes that Arnold is dead because she killed her. Now this is all the information that we have. Interesting episode. I forgot to mention spoilers for episode 9. Do not watch this. Wow, should have said that first. See, that's the problem with having a one take spontaneous video. Anyway, Bernard shot himself because of Ford Dr. fucking Ford. And two theories. Ford obviously knew that Bernard would possibly breach once he made him kill Teresa, and that's why either he was building up um, another version of Bernard in the lab, the host that he was creating that we didn't see, um, or he could just be replacing Bernard to, because he's aging and whatnot. But he could replace parts of him, and that could be managed. But anyway, either the host that he's building in the lab is Bernard, or it's LZ, because Bernard apparently killed LZ. So that's there. We are yet to see what actually happened with LC, how a signal came back up, and what the Ghost Nation hosts do with Stubbs, why they didn't respond to Stubbs in the first place. But yeah, that's probably because Ford did not want anyone to find out about LC, and that's why he disabled voice recognition on them or something like that. But anyway, the finale is in a week. 90-minute finale followed by an emptiness of about a year or two, depending on what sources you believe, which will be heartbreaking. Things to look out in the finale. Maeve. Maeve comes back to the, what's that called? Mesa Gold comes back to the labs with Hector and bamboozles her way out of it. She obviously has to get the explosive implant out of her spine out, but that's there. This intersects with Ford over there, Dolores reaching the town. That is a juncture because the man in black reached the town, right? So now we are having a sort of merging of all the theories. Now we are having all the time frames colliding with each other like waves, because now we're going to see what actually happened. From what I know, or the interviews that I've read, the finale is when everything is solved, or at least told to us. One thing I forgot to mention, Logan gives William a photo of his sister, her fiance, to remind him, and that was the actual photo that Abernathy sees in the present time frame, which makes him break through, which makes him breach. That's a very not so very subtle, but that's a very interesting correlation, because William indirectly became the one to set things in motion 30 years down the line to make Dolores reach the same point. And well, that's just the brilliance of the show. I guess I've ranted for long enough. I don't know if any of it made any sense, but hey, one take videos, no sense, no script. Anyway, probably another video next week when I see the finale, because I think the starting 2 minutes will be just me screaming, because that's how awesome it's going to be. And then I would probably compliment everyone for the job that they've done. But yeah, the Renaissance had Michelangelo, Da Vinci, all the great artists. We have intelligent television. We have shows from the fantasy realm like GOT. We have shows from the thriller realm like How to Get Away with Murder. Above the mediocre and the usual television, we have actually come into an era of the golden age of television, as they say, where we have intelligent television which raises issues that need to be raised, which makes us think, which is as close to intelligent fiction as our generation can possibly get to. Gone are the days of Isaac Asimov and Michael Crichton, but their work, directly or indirectly, has inspired these kind of shows. The Man in the High Castle. It's, well, it's just beautiful. I guess I should stop here. I've stopped making sense to myself. Anyway, adios. See you the next time. These violent desires. How violent